Is America planning to invade South Africa as they did with Yemen, Iraq, and other more countries around the world?
All the decades of deceit and cruelty have now reached an end. Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours. Their refusal to do so will result in military conflict, commenced at a time of our choosing.
The United States and the world faced a choice. Gaddafi declared he would show no mercy to his own people. He compared them to rats and threatened to go door to door to inflict punishment.
It was Muammar Gaddafi, Obama said, who was the main reason for war. He was about to launch a massacre of his own people.
It was not in our national interest to let that happen.
And so the attack began.
Day by day, we are moving closer to Baghdad. Day by day, we are moving closer to victory.
What relationship does South Africa have with the USA? We all familiar of when Americans want to invade a country. They first start by bringing instability within that country, taking down the economy of that country, trying to destroy every strategy that that country can produce. And here we're talking about such countries as Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan, Libya, and many more countries around the world. With all this being said, the next question to ask ourselves is, do South Africans have to fear about these strategies of the USA or not? How do people of South Africa have to prepare themselves in this case? Well, we're going to find out that in this video. It's been for some times now that we have started noticing that Americans, they are trying to bring instability inside South Africa. And all this started from the moment when South Africa decided to remain neutral in the United Nations vote in this ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Since then, the relationship between USA with South Africa becomes so dramatic. Do you know why? Because Americans, they get so jealous to see South Africa remaining loyal and faithful to the Russia Federation. Therefore, Americans start applying their strategy. Here comes number one that make us believe that America, they are applying to invade South Africa. Last year in October 22, we sleep and wake up just to find a post trending on social media, which was launched by the American ambassadors warning South Africa of a possible terrorist attack in Sandton. And their mission here was to make sure that everyone get to panic about this so-called terror attack in Sandton. And they did so by not even informing the government of South Africa. They decided to go on social media and announce this. But President Ramaphosa, as the President of the Republic of South Africa, could not sit and keep quiet about it. He had to react, and this is what he said.
It was quite unfortunate that the US government issued that type of warning without having had deep dive type of discussions with us. But following that, we were able to engage them and to get to understand precisely where this warning or information has come from. We are in the course of doing precisely that, because warnings such as those do send a lot of panic amongst our people. And South Africans should be best informed by the South African government. Our agencies, as they are getting better at their job of securing our people, are alert and are looking very closely at this type of threat, and they continue to do so. So any form of alert will come from the government of the Republic of South Africa, and it is unfortunate that another government should issue such a threat as to send panic amongst our people. So the South African government is working around the clock to verify and to look very closely at this message that came from the United States.
Before I comment on what the president just said, I have this one simple question which I want to ask each one of you. Guys, tell me something. How possible is it that you are having a guest by your place? A visitor, in other words. And these visitors, they notice that something bad is up to happen. Maybe there's someone who want to break your house. We're talking about an intruder here. And this visit of yours, they refuse to let you know, regardless of how deep sleep you were sleeping. And they decided to go on the street to start calling or telling everyone out there that, guys, you see in that house, there is someone who's about to go in there and this person is going to steal. Leaving you, the owner of the house, sleeping and go on the street. What kind of visitor will you consider that person? That is what is happening here. Yes, I'm so proud and to see how determined the President Cyril Ramaphosa was on this particular case and how firm he stood in order for him to respond to these people. Imagine US with South Africa supposed to be working in collaboration. They're supposed to be talking about everything. Let's say that these so-called suspensions that the US said they had discovered about the terror attack in Sandton, if it was true, they should have go and communicate with the government of South Africa. Instead, they did not do so. They went outside and talk about it. So the government, which is the owner of the house, have to find out through social medias. That it is a very big sign in the world of politics. It is a strong message that the US tried to send out there. And according to our analysis, what Americans did here was to press this panic button so that South Africans they will get to panic. And once they get to panic, that will bring instability in the country. And do you know what was going to be their next move? They were going to come and ask to provide a solution to the government of South Africa. And once the government accepts for their offer, that is when they were going to have a chance to step in the South African politics. Imagine they went and ring this false alarm, yet they did not have any proof on the table. But they keep on insisting, saying that there will be a terror attack in Sandton. And they even gave the day. This was if like we don't have any secret service in this country, which was wrong. According to the report from the Secret Service that the president had on his table, there were no such a thing. Before the 55th ANC conference, this question was asked to the Minister of Police, Minister Bheki Cele, and he had to give also his point of view. Here's what he said.
They put a lot of fear on South Africans. Well, if you characterize it as terror, I would not deny that. But if you ask me if it is terrorism, it definitely things that are happening do not fit that definition. People, they've got a lot of fear, terrorize or gangsterism, putting fear on them. If you say they are terrorized and there is terror, that's fine. But if you ask me to define the things as they happen as terrorism is something that is defined on well planned, well funded, claimed by a certain group and all that kind of thing. You ask the question, is there a link? I've explained to you that there is no link at the present moment. So nobody, by the way, who has claimed that they've done these things and as a known and identify some grouping of the people. So if you ask if it's a terrorism plan, but we always say is a South Africans we grew up using that word even in the township that so I will take it on that way. But if you say is a planned terrorism for now, we have no evidence that tells us that they are there.
Guys, this terror attack which was announced by the USA, it was not there and it never took place up to now. And the US ambassador had failed their mission on this one. But that was not all, guys. As you all know for some times now that we are having problem of electricity crisis in South Africa. Therefore, we all know that electricity, it is the energy. Energy produces a lot of things, especially in the world of today. You can't really survive that easily, or you can't run business or a company easily without having electricity. So this is something that the government, they're trying everything by all means to make sure that they get to solve this problem. But as the government is still trying to provide the solution to this, here comes number one to jump up again, trying to bring conflict within South Africans, for them to hate the ruling party, saying that they are failing people. And this time what they decided to do, they had to go, well, I'm referring to the US ambassador, who had to call for all American citizens to provide themselves with food. In other words, the US ambassador had a stockpile alert the order. It had to ask its citizens to provide themselves with food such as a tin fish. This simply means to say that all US citizens who are living in South Africa should have themselves food that won't expire anytime soon. Now, for what reason? Of course, according to them, they say that South Africa will be running out of food because there is a crisis. Companies can't provide food anymore because they don't have electricity. So a lot of companies, they'll be closing and there'll be shortage of food in the market. Therefore, they don't want American citizens to sleep with hunger. Instead, they should have those food in their house. That is how they get to behave themselves in South Africa. In meantime, there was no such a thing that was happening. Yes, as I said, we all acknowledge that we're having problem of electricity, but that has not reached to that level. Then they decided to go and make another false alert to the people of South Africa, all because they are looking for one thing, which is finding a proper way to invade and sanction South Africa. But the government of President Ramaphosa did not let go of that. Here comes Minister Naledi Pandor, who have to come and try to clear up all this false alert that the USA had planted in the mind of South Africans, including even Americans. And she have to remind the US government or the US ambassador of what had happened in America if they did the same as they were trying to do in South Africa.
America's recent warning to its citizens in South Africa is rather shocking. That's the reaction from International Relations and Cooperation Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor. The US warned its citizens here to stockpile on food as well as other essentials amid the ongoing power crisis. However, Minister Pandor says the US never warns its citizens back home when their states experience similar power issues.
I found it rather surprising and odd. I don't recall such alerts being issued when California had similar blackouts and outages to South Africa. So I found it a rather odd warning, but there have been many of these surprise warnings and none of what is warned about has come to fruition.
Guys, if it is up to me, I will tell you that I like the diplomacy that this woman does. She does really motivate me the way that she handles some matters. Minister Naledi Pandor, she's the foreign minister of the Republic of South Africa, and she's doing very good a job, because when you are dealing with people such as the US with this kind of a strategy that they are trying to apply in order for them to have you here, you know, guys, whenever I put here, you know what I mean, right? Yeah, because that's what they've been doing all over around the world. They crap you here. They make sure that you don't move. Everywhere they will take you, each and every site that they will take you, you'll have just to go along with. So that's what they've been trying to do. And whenever you're dealing with this kind of people, you need to make sure that you have a very good ministers of justice, international relationship with other countries. You need someone who's very strong, such as this woman. And here, she gave a very good point of view, which zip the Americans after they have ringed this false alarm. Guys, if you're still watching this video up to now, it's because you find something very interesting that keep you here, because you are serious. You want to understand on which possible way that can make America to invade South Africa. So before we move on, I'm inviting you to click that like button. Give me your thumbs up. I will really do appreciate that, because it means a lot for us. It helps us to reach a big audience out there. That was not all, guys. So far we talk about how they had announced the false terrorist attack in Sandton. In number 2, we spoke again how they had launched this campaign saying that there will be food shortage in South Africa, but that was not all. Now guess what? This time we sleep and wake up just to find out that there is some refugees on the South Africa borders, and the question was to know which nationality are these refugees and what do they want. Unfortunately, that was not even the good question to ask, Because that question you can only ask it to a person who come in a very respectful way, seeking for asylum, seeking your country. But here, it was not the case with these refugees. These refugees, they were coming all the way from Afghanistan, who was provided by the US ambassador in South Africa to impose the government of South Africa to let these people inside the country. So here, they did not even give the right to the government of South Africa to decide whether they will welcome these people or not. When the government of South Africa was trying to figure out, to understand what is all this about, they end up receiving a letter coming from the court. The Home Affairs Minister, Minister Aaron Motsoaledi, could not keep quiet. He ended up understanding that this is something bigger than I could imagine. So I can't keep quiet about this. I need to ring an alarm and let South Africans to know what is about to happen in our country. He came on media and said this.
You may remember that in 2021 in August, the Americans announced that they are moving out of Afghanistan after having been there for 20 years. They further are reported to have said they are concerned and worried by Afghan nationals who were working for them, that now that the Taliban is taking over, it will victimize them. And they said it will be better to take them to the US and give them permanent residency there, something which was said was very good. Well, look, we were seeing it in the news like any other nation. Little did we know what is awaiting us. In September of that same year, we received a letter addressed to the president, but copied to me and the Minister of International Relations from a lawyer practicing here in South Africa in Roodepoort, who is understood to have studied in the US, saying she is representing an American NGO, and she's informing us that the NGO has got 2 plane loads of Afghan nationals who are on the tarmac already in Kabul, and we must allow them to land in South Africa for asylum while they are waiting for the US to vet them, presumably. Of course, we took offense. Why such a request can be made?
Is that more like an instruction? You must allow them.
Yeah, well, he said, I'm writing this letter to inform you that there are Afghans there, this is what you must do. It actually states what you must do, and it goes on then to lecture us about international obligations which we have entered into, and our own Refugee Act. It's a 2-page lecture about these obligations, etc. So we said, no, we can't accept this, and we ignored them completely, and nothing happens. Fast forward last week, on the 16th of February, our immigration officials at Bait Beach Brother Post in Musina, they received a letter from a group of lawyers, this time not from Roodepoort, from here in Melrose Arc, a huge legal firm, because they wrote all their names there to show that they are huge, saying, look, we represent 22 people. They don't mention their names. They don't mention nationalities. We are representing them. And in a short while, they will be arriving at the border post. We request you to prepare a transit visa in terms of Section 23 of the Immigration Act to allow them into South Africa to apply for asylum. While we're still surprised, because people applying for asylum are not preceded by letters from lawyers and all that. When you apply for asylum, you are running away. You just appear there at the border, you know. So this one was being prepared for by lawyers. But a short while later, a bus did indeed arrive at Bait Bridge, carrying 22 people who are Afghan nationals, but also 3 Americans inside. One of the Americans is a lady, went out into the building and said, look, we are applying for asylum. And he said, with an American passport? What? Then they said, he said, no, we have got 22 Afghan nationals here who need to apply because they are in danger from the Taliban. So the official said, bring one of them who speaks English. Let's understand this whole thing, because it was not comprehend. I mean, they couldn't comprehend it. So the gentleman came in. When he showed them the passport showed that they've actually been in Zimbabwe for 30 days. They entered on the 20th of January. And now they are saying they are applying for asylum. And the passport also shows that they entered Zimbabwe via a visa. And the Zimbabweans said, no, this was a visitor's visa. They said they are on holiday when they came here. And we gave them the visas at the airport on arrival. This is called visa on arrival. So anyway, our officials said, no, you can't go in.
You didn't give them?
Yeah, no, we didn't. We didn't allow them to go in. We said we are taking the bus back to Harare from Invade Bridge. The American lady protested strongly that she has already paid for everything, for the bus and all that. And anyway, that's a story, it's not ours. Then the following day, that's Friday, the 17th, they then appear at the border with a court order that say we must allow them in pending the hearing of the case on the 7th of March. But we must allow them in.
Right.
Yes. So our first shock was we don't remember being served with any papers. Because when somebody's suing you, they must give you papers.
So you hadn't received any documentation
No,
prior to
we hadn't. By that time, we hadn't. We just saw a court order. Then when we checked, we found that, oh, something terrible has happened, which we believe was deliberate. The court case was sitting here in Pretoria. They came here to Pretoria. But they served the documents to a junior official at Invade Bridge.
Guys, that is the Minister of Home Affairs. He said it all. But I have only one question which I want to ask you. This so-called refugee, what kind of refugee are them you entering or trying to enter someone's country, and yet you are imposing, you telling them what they should do in order for you to be welcome in that country? That is question number one. Question number two, these people, according to the minister, if you heard him correctly, he said they landed in Zambia. For your own information, if you don't know, the Republic of Zambia, they do also welcome refugees. Zimbabwe, they do welcome refugees. These people, they landed in Zambia. After then, they enter Zimbabwe. For them to show up at Invade Bridge, when they were kept there by the borders, they decided to go to Zimbabwe. Now, simple question is, why they did not go and do this in Zimbabwe? So you'll understand that there is no any guarantee that these people, they were really refugees. These people could be mercenaries. You're never gonna know, because that's how American does. Whenever they want to invade a country, they need to find some people and they'll use them as a secret service, trying to pretend to act like they are innocent, but yet these people could be soldiers. These people could be the really terrorists. Because remember what has been going on over there. And when you listen to Minister Aaron Mutwale, did not only stop there, even go far, saying that these people, their reason being in South Africa is that because they try to run to other neighboring countries, Afghanistan countries, and they will fall there by Taliban and try to kill them. Now the Home Affairs Minister have to ask this simple question.
I think we are being undermined. There's a belief that everything in South Africa obtains. You can go there and do whatever you want at any time you want. The constitution and the legal system of the country will allow you to do so. And that's basically what, because how, if it's true that the people are being persecuted, why cross so many countries and even enter Zimbabwe and spend 30 days there and come here? In court, the lawyers produced a document written in Arabic, not translated, but written in Arabic. And they say, I can't remember whether they said it's a death warrant or a warrant of arrest, but something to that effect, that it comes from the Taliban. It shows that these people are in trouble. It's not translated. We don't even know the authenticity of it, but they produce it in court that these people are in danger. Now, in court, something also very funny happened. They tell the judge, something very funny was uttered. They tell the judge that these people were in Pakistan and the Taliban went to Pakistan to attack them. That's why they had to leave. And my question is, now does it mean they're saying, let them come to South Africa? When the Taliban attacks, it must attack South Africa? Because we all know the Taliban, yes.
So those are your worries, those are your concerns?
Of course.
Are we calling more problems for the country?
If I bring many people here with all this crime that is going around, and the Taliban said, oh, if it's true that they are really looking for these people, and they come and say, oh, so South Africa has about them, let's go there. What am I going to say to the population? What am I going to say to South Africans? That I allowed people here who we don't know, and now they are causing crossfires. Maybe there will even be suicide bombers and suicide bombs and all that. I can't take such a chance.
But Minister,
so you understand for yourself that there were not any guarantee that these people, they were just a simple people. There were not any guarantee showing that if South Africa could welcome them, then South Africa was not going to find themselves in trouble. Because these people says that they're chasing them. They want their life. Now, why America did not decide to take them to America straight away? So they are afraid of taking them to America because these terrorists will follow them to America and cause some attack over there. But they prefer to bring them inside South Africa. That is a risk that Home Affairs Minister could not allow. And he did well by denouncing this. And that's how things are supposed to be. Well, guys, that was not all. Here comes now the last part, which is even more interesting. It is when the same US ambassador had the courage to accuse South Africa, saying that South Africa is supplying Russia with weapons. This allegation came after South Africa had allowed Russia troops to practice their military exercise in Cape Town. Well, this did not sit okay with the USA. Since it was not them who was doing this military exercise, they decided to say this about South Africa.
The Russian ship, which is at the center of allegations that South Africa supplied arms to Russia last year, has been videoed by Reuters 3 times this year. The latest sighting of the South African vessel Lady R was on Friday. The ship was previously videoed on April 11 and April 28. The U.S. ambassador to South Africa, Ruben Brigidi, said on Thursday Washington was confident a Russian vessel had uploaded weapons and ammunition from South Africa in December. The minister who chairs the country's National Conventional Arms Control Committee, Monli Gungubile, told local radio station 702 on Friday that the country did not approve any arms shipment to Russia. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's office said on Thursday that his government would open an inquiry into the allegation of arms shipment to Russia.
We are all aware of the news that we all became aware of the Lady R, and that whole matter, Honorable Steenhuisen, is being looked into. No, it isn't. It's being looked into. And whilst the process continues, I want you to allow that process to continue to reach its fruition. I know that you are so keen. You are so keen and you are so interested in knowing exactly what happened. The matter is being looked into, and in time we'll be able to speak about it.
So the point is that Americans with NATO country, they don't want to see Russia getting any help because they are so determined to finish up with Russia. Okay, that's not our business. It does not really concern us. But my point is just that why do they feel so bad if Russia have to be supplied by other countries? Because them, they're doing it in the open eyes that everyone can get to see. Yes, they are supplying Ukraine with every weapons that Ukraine need. And they're not hiding it. They're doing it in the open eyes that everyone can get to see it. Last week, we also saw how NATO country troops went to Ukraine. As we're talking right now, they're in the position of attacking all the cities that Russia had took from Ukraine. And when we look on their policies, this is not the part of deal for NATO countries. Because as far we remember, Ukraine is not part of NATO. So what is NATO doing in the Ukraine conflict with Russia? This is the same reason that motivates Russia to invade Ukraine. And now they're doing it because they want to make the situation become even more worse. That's what I'm saying. For me, on my point of view, I don't even see the reason why this delegation that is being led by the president of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to go and negotiate peace in these two countries. Because the people that they want to negotiate peace, even if Ukraine are willing to put everything down, even Russia is willing to put also things down, I don't see NATO country giving up because they have already spent a lot of money in this war. So they'll feel like they're losing, and that is the reason why they don't want peace to take place. So guys, I don't see by which way Americans with NATO country they're going to let go of this after all this investment that they had invested in Ukraine. They'll try to fight until they take all their positions because that's what they want. A person who came and reveal or make everything so the public place so that we know what is this all about, because even the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, had said it. We all know what is this war about it.
We know what the war is about.
Mr. Secretary General.
Between Russia and Ukraine. We want peace. That's what is important, so that the world can thrive. And organs and institutions of the world that institute world peace must not be conspicuous by their silence.
For those who always watch us time to time, we had said it before to you that this war is not about Ukraine and Russia. For your own information, just know that Ukraine, they're using him as a battlefield. People who are fighting here, it is the USA with NATO versus Russia. President Ramaphosa had said it as well. And former President Donald Trump, he came on media to make it even more clear when he said this.
The current administration has made it clear that we should continue to provide military equipment to Ukraine so that they can defend themselves. Do you support this decision, and how would you deal with the increasing threat posed by Vladimir Putin?
First of all, thank you very much. It's really nice. And it's an important question, so important, because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off. No longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. And even the Democrats admit that. Putin knew it would have never happened. And his pipeline would have never happened. A lot of things would have never happened. But this would never have happened. And all those dead people, both Russian and Ukrainian, they wouldn't be dead today. And all those cities that are blown up and disintegrated right to the ground, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, now, here's the problem. We've given so far $171 billion. They've given, meaning European Union, which is approximately the same size altogether as our economy. They've given about 20. So we're at 170, let's say, and they're at 20. You don't have to know too much about history to realize, or geography, to realize that they're a little bit more affected than we are, okay? So they've got to put up a lot more money because they're taking advantage of us like every other country did. That's why I ended NAFTA and replaced it with the USMCA, Mexico,
But on
Canada.
this issue, Mr. President, I should know, I don't know any Democrats who have said they don't believe Putin would have invaded if you were president. But her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected?
By the way, just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that. You were impeached over that. But let's stay on topic here, Mr. President, because the question is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding?
I was impeached by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question here is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were elected?
I would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
follow up on that. You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win.
You know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But
when I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I want Europe.
What's happening in Ukraine, Mr.
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
So, guys, you have heard Donald Trump. He did not beat around the bush. He had to speak the truth. And there is a lot of money. When you listen to him, he's talking about billions of money, more than 100 billions of money. So him is jealous for the fact that America, they are spending a lot of money when they are having a lot of countries in NATO. And NATO countries did not give enough money. So it's kind of like trying to ask the Biden government to put pressure on this NATO country so that they'll go all of them equal and give the same amount of money. Now tell me, a government that already spent this much of money, do you think that they'll let go of Russia to win this war? Do you think that the peace negotiation that President Ramaphosa with other African leaders they went over there for, it will succeed? That is the thing, that's the point that I try to tell you, that these people are not gonna finish these things anytime soon. So all these tactics that the US ambassador in South Africa they've been using by bringing up false accusations or allegations, by ringing up false alarm, it is all because they want to have a possible way that they'll be able to control the government of South Africa. And they've been trying this every time they bring something. The South African government, they'll come also out and try to bring up some clarity, and they always end up winning, because each and every point that the USA have talked about South Africa, it have not come to accomplish. Instead, everything they've been saying, it is false. They spoke about the Santon terrorist attack, it never come to their reality. They spoke about the food shortage, it never come to their reality. They try go and bring some Afghanistan refugees inside the country, which they never even succeed. They then decided to go and say that South Africa is supplying Russia with weapons, which is false alarm. And until now, we're still waiting for the apology from this ambassador. That's why I will agree with Julius Malema on this one when he said that this kind of ambassador, if it was up to him, he would have chased him a long time ago, send him back to America. Because this is not a respect that an authority is supposed to be showing to another country, and that does not make sense. President Ramaphosa had given South African position in this conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And he never hid it. He never had tried to do things behind closed door. Instead, he was very clear. For an example, on African Day, President Ramaphosa said again this about these matters.
South Africa remains firm in its position on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with President Ramaphosa maintaining that the country will not be drawn into global contests.
And this, I will say it once again today, South Africa has not been and will not be drawn into a contest between global powers. We will maintain our position on the peaceful resolution of conflict wherever those conflicts occur. Some countries, including our own, are being threatened with penalties for pursuing an independent foreign policy and for adopting a position of non-alignment.
So why are they trying to make South Africa pay much for all this? Why are they trying to come and threaten South Africa in all this? Why are they trying to come and invade South Africa by coming up with some false accusations, by trying to destroy the image of South Africa out there? Well, fellow Africans, this is why I said we are on our own in everything that we do, and we don't need to count on anyone out there. It is now more than ever we need to stand together on our feet and try to defeat this open eye master system. It is in that way we'll be able to make this Africa become even great again, because it is the only land that we have. Therefore we need to stand together and try to make this kind of revelation out there. As we said at the beginning of this video, that we're going to reveal some of the secrets that made us believe that America is trying to invade South Africa. Now it is up to you to open your eyes, dear South Africans. Stand on your feet and do not betray this beautiful country. Let us hold each other hands and make sure that this open eye master don't have any chance or anything to do in this country. We don't have to pay attention to what they are doing or what they are saying, but we must just remain alert and make sure that we don't give them any opportunities for them to come and step on Africans as they've been doing all these years. That time, it is over. This is a new generation. This is 21st century. Things have changed. So they'll have to find another proper way to deal with Africans in a very respectful manner. That is what we all want. So let us open our eyes and remain focused, because that is how we'll defeat this open eye mass system. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Dopsy Nyembe, and if you find anything beneficial in this video, don't leave without you giving us your thumbs up, because we will really do appreciate that. But if this is your first time to watch our video, first of all, I welcome you to this channel, because this is what we do. We educate on this channel, we motivate each other, we try to waken up the whole entire Africa, especially the African diasporas around the world, so that we get to know that, or remember that we're having something very beautiful here in Africa continent. Therefore, we are here each and every day to make sure that we talk or we engage ourselves in a different trending topic. We do our best analysis so that you can get to benefit something from it. So I'm inviting you once again, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, follow us in our social medias on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, so that whenever we upload our new videos, then you don't have to miss any of our updates. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.